Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I'll bring to you my thoughts on the upcoming Adepticon, or I guess, by the time you're seeing this, probably the ongoing Adepticon. Yeah, if I have this timed right, this video should be going up right here. So wanted to share my thoughts while we probably wait for everybody to get set up, and I wanted to also a moment here because I get this question a lot, and again, I don't mind. I just want to, help the community on this front where people wonder where you can see things like Adepticon going on and tournaments. Currently, it is on the schedule for War Games Live to be there on their calendar that they should be at Adepticon. So, and I believe I'm not going to speak knowingly on their behalf, but I imagine that they are covering the singles portion, and maybe not the team tournament portion. I don't know. I can't remember what the situation was last year, but there should be some Adepticon coverage out of War Games Live, and I see that it is also on Tabletop Live's stream schedule as well. Now, I believe that means that they are going to be covering it. Uh, that's just looking at their schedules. It says Adepticon, so um, between the two, there should be some Adepticon footage for somebody to view if that's what you are looking for and into. Also, I can't remember if this is one of the events that GW sometimes covers on their Twitch channel. Maybe the finals, or I'm thinking about something else. I forget which ones that GW covers. Um, because GW coverages. I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, Adepticon is it has new things. There's a lot of anticipation what we're going to see. The rosters, as you can see, there's a lot of people going. So 310 minus 16. So what's that? 294, something like that. Can I do math? Sure. Uh, and then we have no, 285 players. Okay, sorry, I was looking at that. Yeah, but yeah, 285 players for the team tournament. There is a 1,000 point game too, and I think kill team. I don't remember. But yeah, there's a lot of Warhammers to be hammered at Adepticon. I don't really have too many big predictions on the model reveal front. I'm not very good at that. It's I can't see games be played out with imagination or stats. So that's not my front. But yeah, uh, wanted to talk about what might be happening. What might be happening, and unfortunately, well, unfortunately, um, there's not a lot to go off of what could possibly be going down at Adepticon besides the fact, yes, I know somebody's going to be like, several people are going to say, more DACA, it's the more DACA. So to that point, I wanted to look over here on Meta Monday to talk about the only weekend we really had with what happened after the last slate, right? So there was a lot of more DACA, not surprising. And here's my thing, right? I'll maintain this position for a while. If 90% of the community is playing an attachment, yeah, I expect it to win 90% of events or some shit like that. So, am I surprised by Mordaka? Did I think it was going to fall flatter? Not really. This is exactly what happened. Star Shatter and, all the other things where it's like, oh, it's so turbo broken, da 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 da. I get it. But to that point on the Mordaka front, I think the team tournament aspect might be where we get a semblance of what actually will stop Mordaka. If there's a matchup to be had, and people have made their matrices, their matchups, I think that the team tournament would be the thing that we see what has a chance in a Mordaka per se. Um, but yeah, 67% win rate out of the past weekend. That means two-thirds of the games played, roughly, right, were won by Mordaka. Don't really know how. Meta Monday calculates this based on who the mirror match. I assume that they just zero it out because, duh. But 4 event wins out the weekend, and even going to that, let's go to Goonhammer FT4. Could have sworn I pressed Orcs there, my bad. But I'm never sad about going to Tyranids. Because there was something here that I should mention. More DACA, right? As you can see, 4 event wins. And this is what I mean by I'm not terribly impressed. When a lot of people play it, that's when I'm not terribly impressed. Because, mind you, you go, yeah, there's 4 titles, and it's not that easy winning a tournament, right? Let me not, especially of sizes, like I don't want to downplay how easy it is to win tournaments, okay? But what I do want to say is, you see these first 2 rows, right? First 2 rows, notice how it's the same tournament, right? It's the same tournament. It's the thing that people are still trying to figure out how to get a handle of. First, second, third of the same tournament. A lot of the names that we see often Michael Mann, Ben Jura, Zach Point, Ben Jones, Manny Chima, Brian Sipe, where those are names that you'll see pro competitive players. Yeah, everybody went to these events, so like in the hands of other people, who did it? Who used more DACA and got to great results? Well, Lucas Troller, another popular player, I believe, usually specializes in green tide. Last time I checked, maybe that was just for a spell, but also an Orcs player, green tide lover. If I remember correctly, was able to pilot it to a first place at a completely different tournament. And besides that, it got some fourth, third, first place last weekend, fourth, third. So that's what I mean. Like, if the detachment itself is so impossible to handle, and I know you're going to be like, you're just moving goalposts. Sure. But before we go into all of what could happen at Adepticon, we do have to address more DACA. But if outside of 2 super majors that have some of the best players for the faction and just in general, on a good detachment, a very good detachment, you still have to look at what it does in the hands of the average player, right? So taking out names that we see all the time winning with things that they use, right? Uh, where does that land us, right? So I guess that's my point. Am I saying that more DACA is not something that we should expect to see at Adepticon? No, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it follows the exact same Adepticon first, second, third right here in this list. I would not be surprised. Um, but yeah, I feel like we do have to still think about the scope of things because when something is like bad, it is sorry, like really good bad, not oh, it's bad. That's when you get into those conversations. So I want to see another weekend without a famous super major going on, to see where the things fall. But I don't think Mordaka will have that grace, with the way they speed patched Star Shatter Arsenal. And to that point, Necrons are kind of missing. Not missing per se, but and we'll get to all of that. We'll get to all of that. So Adepticon's coming up. I fully expect more DACA to say first, second, third here another weekend because probably good people are going to be there. I haven't looked through all of the names, but it's Adepticon, right? So people will be looking to go to Adepticon. That's the thing that people do, or everybody's just going to chill at home and watch the reveals and then maybe the games. Who knows? But yeah, past that, going back over to what happened this weekend, Dreadmob also has a 67% win rate with one player going 2-3. I'm assuming out of 5 games because this is usually recorded out of 5 games. I imagine the player just said, "I am going to sleep. I'll catch you all later." Fair enough. Props to you. But yeah, Cult of Speed needs help. Bully Boys, I really don't know what to do about Bully Boys. Warhorde's okay. Orcs are looking alright. Eldari, win, rider, host, 82%. Two players, 9 and 11. 9 out of 11, I should say. Not and. Um, well, phew. Do we think that Eldar will be the thing to do it? Eldari. There's a there's a good amount of Eldari players on this. I imagine that is devoted for a lot of those lists. Right, 61%. Um, do we think that Eldari has a good chance at Adepticon? I I don't. I don't know. I don't know. Because then you get into the discussion of can any of the Eldar detachments handle more DACA, and it's a whole predator prey food chain situation with some of these things. So not simply is it just more DACA, so it's the top dog. That's why it'll do for a second, third, or I wouldn't be surprised if it does, right? Um, it's more so that the predator for it is everybody's playing it, so it just kind of cannibalizes. If there was like three or four detachments that were more DACA levels of strong, then we would have an interesting meta. And I'm not saying that this meta isn't interesting because it's still developing. It's been like 2 weeks, three. So I'm not already going to start complaining about the meta or anything like that. But that's where I get frustrated with the immediate call to nerf everything and nerf it, it's too good, nerf it, because then you have. I like when there's a bit of variance. It's like, oh, okay, the orcs over there are using more DACA, the Eldari over there are using devotative. You need Black Templar, sure, because you're right here. They're on Gladius Task Force, and Vessels of Wrath World Eaters are kicking. Like that. That's the type of things that I look forward to, where if every army has a detachment that is actually like a problem, then you have a lot of maybe not problems, and you let them fight amongst each other, and then one day a Cult of Speed Orc list wins the tournament because the thing that killed Mordaka doesn't kill Cult of Speed, and you went under the radar. Things like that. But going back to the Eldar point, I don't know. I haven't been particularly impressed by the codex. I think that's a lot of people, but for me, that's because I knew a lot of people were chatting shit. I I wasn't seeing the vision on the Eldar, like not the broken levels of it. I thought it was kind of pretty okay, and I guess that's the trend over here where I'm looking at damn near everything and I'm going, this is kind of okay until it's absolute shit. Like uh, what the fuck is the Eldar Grotmish attachment again? Uh, Armored Warhost, and until it's something like that, I'm like, oh, this is probably fine. But that's just my outlook on a lot of things. You asked me about competitive games besides 40K, but like video games, right? Oh, we need to do smurfing. It's like I'm trying to get as good as the guy smurfing and be better than him. So I don't really care. Um as far as like nerfing, I'd much rather there be a oh well, how about the shit is just better? Like how about we raise the floor from being terrible, and instead the ceiling, we'll figure that out once the floor isn't so far away from the ceiling. Um, you know, essentially that's the line of thinking here for buffs and nerfs. So Eldar, if Windrider host can do something interesting, that'd be pretty funny for Adepticon. Gonna have to see that. Black Templars, I don't know where you all are finally coming from. I don't remember a change happening to you all per se. In fact, I thought I saw a lot of Black Templar players saying that you somehow got worse with the data slate. So if you have found hope, power to you. World Eaters versus the Wrath. I do not think that this is a World Eaters world right now, but apparently Berserker Warband did win something this past weekend. So I'm just saying, if you can find a way, there's a way. Chaos Demons. I am I disappointed? No. I am I don't even know the term for this emotion. Because I'm both happy that Shadow Legion is above 50%. As a non-demons player, I'm looking at Shadow Legion like, man, that is sick. And once somebody finds the build, right? The build for Shadow Legion, I want to see that. Also, I guess it did win this past weekend, so that's cool. Somehow Legion of Excess went 4-5. Props to you, whoever did that one. Plague Legion, that's another one. If I'm being honest, you know what? Here's my thing. Here's my thing. I found it. Here's my thing. Because I've talked about it a couple of times in different ways. Here is my thing. All right, we ready? Everybody ready? For this Adepticon, I want to see more Demons players. I want to see what the Chaos Demons do in this quote unquote meta. If you have Bellicor Shadow Legion just being a hard counter to Mordaka because for a couple of turns they can't get to what they want to get into, and then dying because your CSM that still gets access to their dark packs are deep striking on trucks and fucking tank busters and so on and so forth. I think that can do it. I think Shadow Legion can do it versus Mortaka. I think Shadow Legion can do it versus Devoted of Your Need. I have faith in Shadow Legion. That'll be my, I don't even know if it's a dark horse because I think some people see the vision, and maybe I do end up starting Chaos Demons this edition before it's too late, I guess, or whatever that situation might be. But I don't know. It's something about Chaos Demons, especially Plague Legion and Shadow Legion, that I am really, I don't know. I can't quite place it into words past that. Demonic Incursion, I see people are still trying that again, and I can't quite grasp why. Not saying that it's bad, right? Not saying that it's bad, but I'm not quite sure why they haven't just tried Shadow Legion. Maybe it's because the players don't own the CSM Codex and haven't had enough reps into, trying the units and obtain it. Because this is a short turnaround time. That's another thing that we do have to keep in mind. This is a short turnaround time for people to want to be doing things with um, some of these detachments. Yeah, it's short. There's only so many reps you could have had. There's only so many models you could have acquired, built, and paint, right? So maybe we just need to see more people have access to Shadow Legion the same way people had access to Legion of Excess. And now that you can't use half of those models in some of these tournaments now, and most of these tournaments now, maybe that's where we go with it. Maybe same to be said for Plague Legion. But yeah, Imperial Knights have been doing good. Do we think that Imperial Knights can sustain past the Moradaka? Or prevail, I should say. Past Moradaka and Eldar. They have before. Shadow Legion is a player now. I'm pretty sure Adepticon is using this balance data slate, right? I want to make sure. I could look at the. Is there the player pack right here? Full event details. Do I want to click a link that says drive.google and possibly dox myself? We're not going to do that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that Adepticon is using the latest rules. If they aren't, somebody tell me I'm stupid because I forgot. But yeah, Imperial Knights, they've been doing okay, and it's not looking like they will be losing out on anything anytime soon. Leagues of Votan, would you look at that? Hearthband! Alright. The thing that, again, mathematically should be better than Oathband. Ho, 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 ho. What's this? What's this? Um, it's literally one person. But that said, I say that to say, Hearthband should be available to do something. It surprised me with Legion of Excess having apparently a poor matchup into it, with what I surmise to be the Berserkers, Chthonian Berserks. Is it Berserkers or Berserks? Can't remember. But the Fight on Death unit into Slanesh units, that seemed to be what and when I looked at the list, that seemed to be the thing that separated them from other Votan lists. Can they run that back for Mordaka? Eldard voted, maybe Windrider host apparently. Imperial Knights and Shadow Legion. I need to stop throwing Shadow Legion in there. It had 55%, but I'm really tooting for it, rooting for it. Hopefully, I'm not tooting for it. Maybe, maybe Dark Angels. Every time I have confidence in Dark Angels, I lose it. Every time. Votan. I don't think that this will be their dub. I would be surprised, and I'd welcome that surprise, but I just don't see it. Dark Angels. Oh man. Oh man. Um, this isn't to say that Dark Angels are bad, right? I think we all know Dark Angels aren't bad, but to the point of if we can have Dark Angels come out on top, I don't know if they can. I don't know if Dark Angels have access to something insane enough right now that will put them over the top for what Adepticon is asking, probably. So I don't know about that one. Astra Militarum. Oh man. So look, here's the thing. I Once the Codex came out, I looked at, everybody was still playing Combined and Bridgehead because that nerf hadn't come in. But then I did say, looking through the things, Hammer of the Emperor seemed to be the next best one. And so far, apparently, this past weekend of the meta, Hammer of the Emperor was the detachment to do it and get a tournament win. Do I think Hammer of the Emperor can do it this time? Quite frankly, I do. I do. Um, would you possibly be better off with combined? Maybe. Like I don't necessarily love the Hammer of the Emperor strats. Um, but I don't know. See, combined would help you cross the board, right? It's lethals for what it's for your counterpart. It's lethals for your counterpart basically, or I guess vehicles to monsters and vehicles, and you're not to not those two, right? Um, I don't know. I think people have had enough time with combined regiment that it might. I think that might the creativity might have finally stalled out. You have new models, but it might have stalled out. I'm not saying that guard players aren't creative. I'm just saying that when you find your detachment that was doing pretty good, Bridgehead Strike, or any other faction that this happens to, when that gets nerfed and you just go back to your index, you don't really experiment again. You just go, well, does my old list work? And that isn't the fault of guard players, that is literally just what we keep seeing happening. They might change one unit because of how points have fallen. But for the time being, I think if there were to be a thing to do the thing of Adepticon, I do think Hammer of the Emperor. Now, again, my bias as a big model lover, right? We know that I likes the monster mass of Tyranids, and honestly, just elite. Like I'm not, I don't like running too many models. Um, so maybe that's my other thing about why I feel Hammer of the Emperor can possibly do it. Who knows? GSC, host of Ascension, did have a win, so I'm surprised that it's not. Oh, it didn't have an event win. It had a 5-0, so it came second. So never mind. But GSC, Outlander Claw. I made a bad call. I made a bad call. I think. Well, obviously because last video I made talking about the my dark horse pick of the tournaments. Uh, Rocky Mountain and uh, whatchamacallit, what was the other one real quick? South Coast, right? And All Is Dust. Those are the ones that I looked over, right? I said that, hey, Outlander Club might be the way. And it was the way. People stopped playing stopped playing it. And when they picked it up again, it was still okay. Uh, Looks like that's probably wrong. I I'm monster enough to eat crow on that one. That said, that was also a wild shot in the dark for the new meta. So who knows? Um, what to say? If I can have that much of saving some egg on my face, that was a shot in the dark when I wanted to see just how bad the new meta would do. Well, do armies in general. But now that we have a taste of it, what do I think GSC? What GSC detachment do I think could do it? Honestly, I like most of them. And I think it would be really funny. It would be hilarious if the Brood Brothers Auxilia came out of nowhere and pushed it over the top. Uh, as a Tyrannus player, how do I view Final Day? I think it is alright. I think it is okay. More fun to play Final Day. Appears more fun to play Final Day than some of the things we have access to in our codex. Host of Ascension seems to be still holding strong as the next step of GSC players. I don't really understand how GSC is interesting faction wise with the detachments and how they've been performing in tournaments because it's not like any of the detachments just get initially worse, but the GSC players seem to be rotating their player population between the detachments. So if anything, I'd say GSC is looking like one of the most skill expressive factions of this edition. Where, yeah, if all the good GSC players stop playing Biosynctic and go over to Host of Ascension, it looks better. Oh, they're tired of that? They went to Final Day? It looks better. Oh, wait, they all went back to Outlander Claw this week. It looks better. Like, I think everything is kind of equally viable in GSC. And, well, maybe it is literally just the how good of a player are you on that GSC front. Grey Knights, I'd give up. Yeah, I give up. Every time I have hope for Grey Knights, they go missing. Just like the Avatar when the Fire Nation attacked. I have no clue where to ever place Grey Knights. I don't. When's the last time you all have won a tournament? When is the last time you all have won a tournament? And that's not even shots. That's just a genuine question. Grey Knights. What is the last thing that we have for you? Yeah, so it's been a minute with Grey Knights doing like things. Don't know what's missing. Besides, actually, I do. I've had a couple of you comment on that last Grey Knights video things like the damage is missing in melee and whatnot. And yeah, that'll probably do it. So until your codex, I guess you will forever be in just not custodies. I guess. Tyranids, my own. Do I think that Tyranids can take it home? Well, if I'm being honest, no, I don't think so. I do not think that we have the guff to take down everything right now. I do think that we have certain matchups that we win still. Invasion Fleet helps always. Warrior Battle Onslaught. Let's talk about this one. We actually got to see this on War Games Live in action. This was Colin. I don't want to take the chance of mispronouncing your last name. I'm pretty sure it's simple, but uh, this was at the Rocky Mountain Open last weekend. Well, duh, I've been talking about this entire last weekend the entire time. But yeah, this was on War Games Live, or one of the games where I should say. We got to see how they piloted the list. It was interesting watch. There were some insane rolls. It was a good game. So you should go back onto War Games Live and it was one of these days, right? Yeah, it was one of them. I'm sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but uh, you'll find it. So I don't know, maybe that's what we need to do. Warrior by for my slot. Jokes aside, oh no, it's an interesting game. You have to see all the things. Um, this invasion fleet bail us out this time around. I don't think it does. Unfortunately, everything else being sub 50, kind of depressing. But is what it is. Custodes. Oh, Custodes. I had high hopes for Lions of the Emperor. I read it. At first, I was like, "Oh, this is great, right?" And that Solar Spearhead just got nerfed. This should just be like great, right? And I think now, mind you, it does have a win from this past weekend, but I do think there's something that I said in there, in my review of it, that held true. Is that it is going to have issues figuring out what the list is, because it was interesting. We all actually thinking back to it. It was Lions of the Emperor versus Warrior Battle for Onslaught, um, and that match. There was a lot of things into one of the no matter what level of play, right? If you can take two people and have them pilot it, you will see some strengths and some weaknesses of detachments, and like what does what for people and where somebody might run into an issue. And one of the things that we saw of Lions of the Emperor is 6 inches just might be too big. Um, there was a lot of times that, again, talking for somebody who manages Synapse, yeah, you'll find that you can manage Synapse a bit easier, because of that 6 inches. Now it's not amazing, and it's not the end all be all. I still would like it to be bigger sometimes, but uh, you find out you're like, hey, I have. If my opponent just tries to move together in any way, shape, or form and plays the map layout, yeah, I'll probably be within 6 inches of some stuff way too many times. So, Lines of the Emperor, it has an unnecessary hurdle for its detachment rule. I think it'd be cooler if it was 3. Why am I talking about buffing Custodes like I like them that much? I don't know. I don't know. I think I just want it to be better because it looks cool. Or seems cool, that is. Admech, I got nothing for you. They need help overall across the board. Do I think they can take down Adepticon in short? No. No, I don't. Death Guard, Flyblown Host. I do. I do. I do think that Death Guard Flyblown Host, a good Flyblown Host list, could do something really funky. And again, apparently this is another one of my pocket picks that whenever I'm trying to figure out what's going on, I go, what Death Guard can do it? Uh, Finding that out about myself. But I don't know. Flyblown Host looks decent enough to handle some of the things. So I think it has a chance. CSM, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Do I think it'll just completely take down Adepticon? Probably not. Uh, yeah, it's just fine. It's just fine. We got some more Phil Hammer Siege Host players this past weekend. I didn't even catch that. 44% for people finally taking this out isn't terribly bad, right? You have 46% on Play Company, and people have been playing that all edition. So, I have hope. Now, mind you, there's no X and 1 starch, but you have to take the first step of playing the detachment. So, and actually, I'm sorry, I can't remember what video I said this on. Was it the CSM Codex one? The detachment Codex video? Probably. I want to say it was Runich, where we had a conversation about, what can happen. And I was like, hey, if Mordaka makes people play Failhammer Siege Host, maybe here we go. So, uh, there we go. Sisters of Battle. Oh, but you're telling me getting your Miracle Dice back just wouldn't do it? Oh my gosh. And here we are. Army of Faith. Again, one person, 3 out of 5. But at the same time, you all let Stephen Bucks get away with murder when he was beating the brakes off of people with Army of Faith, while all of you were sucking the ever loving life out of Bringers of Flame. And what would you know? the thing that happened once again. Well, Bringers of Flame got nerfed. Back to the index we go. So Hallowed Martyrs is getting played again. Getting your dice back means you can play the faction again, kind of free of charge. Army of Faith, I think you should be playing it. I think you should be playing it. I've talked about it several times. You need to be playing it. We've seen what it can do when it was not the best Sisters detachment, and when somebody does play it, when everybody else is on Hollowed Martyrs, they can still go 3-5 or 3-2. Sorry, 3-2 out of 5. Play Army of Faith. Play it. 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 I think it has literally all the tools you could be needing for this time, especially right now. Sisters in direct fire, some getting fucking whatever the hell you want in that detachment. I don't hate sisters, you do. No, jokes aside, I really don't fight sisters myself that often, so it's not even that. It's just insane to me that people aren't trying Army of Faith when you've had this time and the proof that if you just pilot it, it can do it. So, do I think that Army of Faith Sisters could take down Adepticon? Yes, I do. I think if you have a great pilot that out of nowhere comes and be like, hey, I can play my sisters again, you can do it. And to that point, does that go to the larger perspective? No, because back to what I said earlier, when people run back to their index detachment without trying anything new, they stop being creative about it. So I don't think a Haloed Martyr Sisters of Battle list will do it. Sorry, don't think I have faith in that. Champions of Faith is whatever. Penitent Host is bad. What's the other detachment? I feel like I'm missing one. The fact that I can't remember right now should say enough, I think. Space Wolves, whatever. Necrons, gone. Also, poor Annihilation Legion. It looked more viable. Oh, it's 2 people, but out of 10 games, that's not great. Canoptic Court. I like Canoptic Court still. I don't know. That's all I got to say on that front. Um, but yeah, Star Shatter's nerfed. Would it been the thing to help right now? I don't think so. I think this is just a bad time to be a Necron player, if I'm being honest. I don't think there's anything going on in the meta that particularly favors you. From what we've seen out of this past week, right? So there's that. Chaos Knights exist. They still exist. They haven't stopped existing lately, or yet, I should say. Chaos Knights are Chaos Knights. Blood Angels are Blood Angels. I'm putting pretty much all the Space Marines in my mind past Dark Angels because I guess I have Dark Angels favoritism, right? In my mind to Space Marines in general. If you're not playing Ultramarines, yeah, if you're not playing Ultramarines, I was going to say Gladius. If you're not playing Ultramarines with Rabute Gilliman in some flavor, I don't think that you're necessarily the biggest, baddest thing on the block right now. I think that's where everything lies. I don't think it'll take down Adepticon. Now, if there's something funky with a Librarius Conclave, maybe. Um, and to that point, I don't know. Do I think a Librarius Conclave has more play than something like Vanguard Spearhead? I guess possibly. I guess there's a world. I guess there's a world. You know what? Um, Somebody make a cranked Librarius Conclave list. Can you do double oath in Librarius Conclave? I mean, maybe. Hold on. Maybe. If somebody takes the time to learn the inner workings of Librarius Conclave, can it win right now something like Adepticon? Sure, why not? Let's say yeah. Let's make this video more entertaining besides me just going, no, 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 no. So there's that. Tau. Experimental prototype cat rate did not do favorably for people. Out of 200 games, 39 players, one person went X and 1 this past weekend with it. And auxiliary cat rate, also not doing too hot for people. But somehow Kalyan did better than those. And when you look at that, remember when I said that no matter what, a stat check is a stat check is a stat check? Crude Hunting pack is one person, 4-1. That's fine. am I going to tell you all to go to Crude Hunting Pack? Well, actually, hold on. Wait, wait. Crude Hunting Pack just might actually, because here's the thing. Oh, actually, that's actually really funny. This might be a great time. You get 5 up invuln versus ranged for all your crew, and 6 up invuln versus melee. Carnivores become battle line. Each time a crude mob from your army makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. If the attack is below its starting strength, then add 1 to wound. If below half strength, so you got Crusher Stampede, which is the ruler's doing good for us over here. You have 5 up, so you know it'd be really funny, Tau players. I should say it would be really funny, Crude players, if you all came out and forced at Adepticon for Crude Hunting Pack. This actually might be really funny and do the thing. Oh my goodness. Oh man, because I know like none of the Tau players like their Crude. And if you're a Crude player or you're a Tau player that likes Crude, you're like a Crude player apparently from what I've learned this edition really. Um man, Crude players, I think you have the best chance now more than ever to do the funniest thing. Because I don't really know how many models Eldar can lift of Crude free of charge. That could be really funny, you all. Oh man, that's actually a great situation right now. Shout out to the one person who tried Hexwarp Thrallband Thousand Suns. Oh man, I'm sorry that you even endured that. But hey, if that's what you want to play, that's what you want to play. So shout out to you though. Drukari. No, I don't think this is a Drukari moment right now. I don't think it is. It is it? No. Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so. Death Watch. It's always a Death Watch time. Um, except for apparently this last weekend. 10 players, 19 wins out of 52 games. That's that is that the lowest we've seen them the entire edition out of having the numbers like having at least 10 players, double-digit players. Is that the lowest number we've seen from them? Maybe. Um, Imperial Agents, a non-existent faction in my head. Even though I know that they can win tournaments, I don't think they're doing Adepticon like that. But going through that again, this was Meta Monday. Um, do I? What's my final one? What's my final one? Crude Hunting Pack, Shadow Legion, Hammer of the Emperor, Flyblown Host, Army of Faith. Is that 5? I think that's 5. Yeah, those are my wild card picks. Those are my wild card picks. What are my realistic picks? Moradaka first, second, third. Uh, has Devoted done anything of note? Right, like it has 2 wins this past weekend, but I don't think any of the wins that we've seen out of it so far have been like giant tournaments. Am I forgetting something? No, did they win? Nottingham. I'm sorry, not Nottingham. What did the UK just have? Manchester? Was Manchester the last one? It was Manchester, right? Was this out for Manchester? I think so. I don't know. I need to see more from that one. Who's the usual suspects right now? Well, that's why this video is here too. While we're yapping and during the downtime, the video is definitely longer, and I'm pretty sure whatever game has already started. But um, you know, the meta's wide open more or less. We Before you figure out what else is big and bad, you have to figure out what can kill the current quote unquote big bad, and then you get to there. And if there's just one big bad, it's not really big bads. Yada yada yada, so on and so forth. TLDR, I don't know what I'm talking about. I have my 5 out of nowhere picks that if somebody, if there's a good pilot for him, could win Adepticon. And no, I won't be surprised if out of the 500 people in the tournaments this weekend, the 400 orc players somehow get first, second, third. I'm not going to be surprised. So, yeah, Adepticon. You know where to watch it. You know my takes. That's that. So hey, if you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me? Comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.